So what we're trying to do is to find here in the White House Fellow a combination of an idealist with vision and a pragmatist with judgment.
I look to this fellowship as a way of further understanding what service really means.
Since 1965, the White House Fellows Program has brought men and women from all walks of life to Washington.
These experiences make me a better judge, a better decision maker.
Like my predecessors, I value it highly as a vehicle for developing new leadership for the nation.
The White House Fellowship Program is a nonpartisan national competition that is strictly based on the merit of the applicant. Young people who come to our nation's capital to engage in service for the year can really expect the opportunity to serve at the highest levels of the executive branch. White House Fellows come from a range of different backgrounds: firefighters, constitutional lawyers, journalists, teachers, and in particular, one of our most recent fellows had been a Teach for America Corps member in New Orleans when Katrina struck.
Katrina really sort of framed for me what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I was excited for my second year. I had the students for about 10 days, and then Katrina hit. The bottom of my school was flooded. We didn't have any chairs, any books, no chalkboard, and so my job was, with these 50 evacuee students I was given in first period, was to educate them. And at that moment I realized that public leadership is not a game, it's not something to take lightly, that it's something that you absolutely better be prepared for. The White House Fellowship really demystifies leadership in a way, or the tough decisions that are made.
All you got to do is listen around here, and you're going to learn.
I'm going to go back and be able to be a better public servant for the state, and in some capacity help move us forward.
It was a growth experience, and it's like getting a sudden shot of growth hormone, because you were at one level in development and suddenly you are thrown into a much higher level, and you're expected to learn at that much higher level and take that experience back with you into whatever field you came from.
The White House Fellows Program began under the administration of Lyndon Johnson back in 1965. The idea was to bring young, promising leaders to Washington, to have exposure at the highest levels of government, to learn about the government, how decisions are made, and to take that learning experience back with them from where they came. The idea was really John Gardner's, a very close advisor to Lyndon Johnson.
The more you look at it, the more you realize that each one of the founding fathers had first-hand experience in seeing government in action. All Jefferson had to do was to walk across the green to the House of Burgesses. What happens today with our ablest young people? They go through college, they go through graduate school, they never see anyone governing anything, and as a result, they're not very interested. And I felt we could change that.
You bring these bright people from different fields together, put them at government where there's so much cynicism about government and politics. They see how it really works, and they feel a greater understanding, a greater empathy toward what politics and government is all about. Bring that understanding back to their own separate spheres, enriching those spheres as well as themselves.
To the individuals who have just been selected, you went through a very rigorous screening process.
And I believe that it will be a great credit to our nation, the service that you will provide.
The White House Fellowship Program takes the fellowship component of that title very seriously, and they really proactively work to create a team-building spirit and culture.
There you go. Now you got another one.
The year begins with a terrific retreat where the fellows begin that process of getting to know one another.
And then you're supposed to do it for the next person?
In addition, you've got a wonderful education program where your White House Fellow class is exposed to the most important leaders and thinkers of our day.
There are an awful lot of people who will describe the problem for you. My tendency is to start in motion.
For those who are selected as White House Fellows, they can expect a really diverse experience. You have the opportunity to travel across the country on a couple of domestic policy trips where you get to really dig into a city or a municipality and see what leaders on the ground there are thinking and doing. Finally, you get this extraordinary opportunity to travel abroad to a country or a variety of countries and really take on foreign policy issues in a whole new light.
You don't have to be an Ivy League graduate in order to be a White House Fellow, and I'm certainly living proof of that. I'm an active duty Air Force officer. I've been in 2 different theaters in combat, both over Kosovo and Iraq, and in fact I got my master's degree online in correspondence from American Military University.
I just bring in the weekly White House report, so.
I was lucky enough to be with the United States General Services Administration, also known as GSA. One of the most amazing things that GSA does is that they're responsible for setting up and establishing the office of the President-elect. So I had the privilege of serving on a very small, very wonderful team called the Presidential Transition Support Team. I really was working with every incoming cabinet secretary. It wasn't unusual to see President Obama speaking to members of his team. One of the greatest takeaways from this fellowship is going to be this network of other White House Fellows. Not only the ones that are in my class, but those who have come, in previous classes.
I came to Washington and to the White House Fellows to learn more about healthcare policy. That's certainly my field and my area. But I found myself doing things like writing speeches for the First Lady on the value of the arts and humanities in our society. And it was a door opening for me. It was a light going on, a bell ringing.
One of the things that I always keep in mind when I'm talking to prospective applicants is this notion that a fellowship experience is unique and individual to the fellow, him or herself. So you can never determine where you're going to be placed or what your placement is going to look like. It really is up to you to make the most out of your fellowship experience.
Hello, I'm Cindy Moelis. I'm the director of the White House Fellows Program. On behalf of President and Mrs. Obama, I'd like to encourage you to apply to the program. If you're watching this video, you probably already know a little bit about it. But if you need more information, please go to our website at www.whitehouse.gov/fellows. We wish you the best of luck, and we encourage you to learn more and to apply. We look forward to seeing you in D.C. next year.